So realistic exercise goals are the key. Spending 3 more hours on the CrossFit trainer is not the answer. For me, exercise that's moderate and frequent is the right strategy, given my metabolic genes. Also, exercise is not my go-to weight loss strategy. Managing what I eat and managing my stress levels are. The question is, what is your genetic blueprint in terms of your metabolism, which affects our weight, our energy levels, our sleep, and more? And what's your go-to strategy that will produce the best results with the least amount of effort? I'm Jules Walters, a health coach for female leaders, helping you to become the CEO of your health. Yes, you got it, the Chief Executive Officer, the one who's in charge, the one who owns it. I've spent decades in healthcare as an entrepreneur and a CEO, and what I've learned is that many of the answers to a long and healthy life are up to us. I'm a big believer in the power of women to adapt. Let's face it, we've done it before. My message to you is that I absolutely believe that you can become the CEO of your health. You are the expert on you. As a health coach, I've seen many women make the journey from being frankly fed up and frustrated to being empowered and encouraged. They've done it by making small tweaks to their habits that together make all the difference. I call them Nano Health Habits, and I've written a book about it called Nano Health Habits. And these are small steps which, built one on top of the other, can transform our health. And that's what this podcast, The Health Refresh, is all about. If you're a busy woman who wants the best for herself and her family and is not prepared to accept that what you have now is as good as it gets, then you're in the right place. Welcome, my friend. Welcome to the Health Refresh team. Today we're going to start the new year talking about weight and how to shed those extra pounds that just keep hanging around. But we're not going to cover the old school way of counting calories and living off salad. Instead, we're going to talk about the biology and the genetics of weight. How does it actually work? And how, by making friends with our fat cells, could it make the world of difference? Our fat cells can be our friends. We just need to get to know them a little. So let's start with the basics. How does fat work? I find it fascinating that the number of fat cells we have more or less stays the same once we reach adulthood. So when we put on weight, the fat cells we have grow bigger. And when we lose weight, those same cells get smaller. It's a bit like having an overstuffed closet. The size of the closet doesn't change, but what we put in it certainly does. And if we become really overweight or obese, then other cells in our body start to turn into fat cells. It's as if the signal goes out that this closet is full and we need another one. So we have two things at play. Our fat cells can get bigger or smaller, and we can develop more fat cells when our existing ones become full. We also have genes in our DNA that influence our storage of fat. Knowing our personal metabolic blueprint can be really helpful in choosing the right strategy for weight loss. For example, we all have a gene called ADRB2 for short, or in full, the beta-2 adrenergic receptor. I have a slight variation in this gene, which makes it more difficult for my cells to release fat when I need to. For example, if I haven't eaten enough or I'm doing some really physical exercise, I'm going to need a bit more energy. That's useful to know, that this variation in my ADRB2 gene means that more exercise is not likely to result in less weight for me. So realistic exercise goals are the key. Spending 3 more hours on the CrossFit trainer is not the answer. For me, exercise that's moderate and frequent is the answer. Also, exercise is not my go-to weight loss strategy. Managing what I eat and managing my stress levels are. The question is, what is your genetic blueprint in terms of fat storage? What's your go-to strategy that will produce the best results with the least amount of effort? I also have a slow metabolism, thanks to another variation in a gene with an even longer name called PPARGC1A. That's quite a name. It means I burn very little energy at rest, a bit like an elephant. Well, elephants live a long life, so there is an upside to a slow metabolism. And what that means for me is that foods like green tea and chili peppers will encourage my metabolism to kind of speed up a little. I can also work on increasing my naturally slow metabolism by regular exercise, regular, not intense, and take on strength training. I have other genes that means I'm naturally suited to strength training. So the question is, what's your response to energy expenditure and exercise? What works for me won't necessarily work for you, as your DNA is different from mine. If you're interested in finding out more on your metabolic blueprint, I have a free masterclass at my website, juleswalters.com/masterclass. That's juleswalters.com/masterclass. In the class, I cover how our DNA has wired our bodies to react in a certain way to food and exercise. It explains how our wiring is highly personalized, and I've seen firsthand how this information can help you to become more active, not passive, when it comes to your health. Another practical and easy step you can take today is to keep out of our home man-made chemicals that are linked to obesity. You may have heard of these chemicals called obesogens. And obesogens are man-made chemicals that are in our food and cosmetic packaging and in plastics. Two of the most common ones are bisphosphonates A, otherwise known as BPA, and phthalates. BPA is often used in food and drink containers, and the problem is that BPA can move into our food when one of these containers is heated. So firstly, check the label, and if BPA is on the label, put whatever is in it back on the shelf. Secondly, if you've bought a food product that is in BPA packaging, don't heat the container. Phthalates are the other common obesogen and are used to make plastic containers more flexible, and you'll see them a lot in packaging for shampoos, detergents, and things like soaps. And increasingly, you'll see shampoo bottles saying they're phthalate-free, as more of us are becoming aware of the potential risks of these obesogens. So you can be vigilant and stop them coming into our homes by adopting the old recipe for success. Read the label. So that's it for this week. Before we go, I do need to make clear, if I haven't already, that I am not a doctor. I'm a health coach, and my lane is lifestyle and how it affects our health. If you have a medical condition or suspect you might be developing one, then a doctor is the right person to see. So that's the legal bit done. In the next fortnight, we'll be diving into more examples of how our environment and our DNA combine to create our health. So see you here at the same time, same place.